All right, guys, welcome to the Walker Report. I am the sports star Bradley Walker. We are part of NGSE Sports, guys. Remember the website, it's ngsesports.com for all your current sports content. We are sponsored by biotropiclabs.com. Head over there, guys. Use promo code TWR for 15% off a one-time purchase. Use promo code TWRS for 20% off a subscription purchase. One additional free supplement. And again, that is with my partner, Craig. Welcome in, guys. It is a special show this evening. We are just 2 days away from WrestleMania, night one of WrestleMania.
Yep.
This evening, we're going to talk about the card and what 3 WrestleManias are that we enjoyed as fans. And I guess you guys said that Alex will be here at 9. You guys just want to go through the card first and then wait.
Hang on a second. I gotta do something else.
Watching it live.
Is that okay?
No, it was me. My phone's connected to the smart set. That's what happened. I thought every time there's the volume goes up.
No, it's okay. It's all right. No worries. No worries.
You're all connected.
All right. So do you guys want to go over like the non-title match first? And do you guys want to make predictions?
Yeah, do the small stuff first, then work our way up to the big ones.
Okay. So
Why not?
Night one is this Saturday. Starting at 7 on Peacock. Let's go ahead and start Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Now, you guys all know the backstory of this match because Naomi was the one who beat up Jade and then hit it Bianca better and then decided to come out at Elimination Chamber where Jade basically annihilated her inside the cage, inside the Elimination Chamber. Who do you guys like in this match?
Jade.
I'll go Jade.
Jade. I'm all with Jade gets her revenge.
Yes.
I don't think I'd want to be across the ring from that woman when she's mad.
No.
No. Absolutely not.
If you do, take insurance.
Yeah. Well, the only person that could stop anything from happening to Naomi would be Bianca Belair, but she's got an important match on night 2, so I don't think she's going to get involved.
Yeah.
The next one, guys, is Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano, which, if knowledge serves me correct, he's been cheating with putting metal in his mask or something. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you are totally correct.
Okay. So it's a luchador match, correct? Because Rey's a luchador, so
I have something to say about this match. I think all of us know that El Grande Americanos is Chad Gable.
Yeah, they have the same tattoo. I think that ends in a no contest, like a disqualification match, because Ray pulls why can I not think of what you just said it? El Grande Americano's mask off.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I had to agree with Alex. El Grande Americano is actually Chad Gable. Come on now, anybody can see through that.
Yeah, so do I.
Okay.
So, I'm taking Rey Mysterio. Like,
Gerald?
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. Adam?
I think it goes to the disqualification. Because I think Ray tries to take El Grande Americano's mask off, tries to expose him as being Chad Gable, and I could see what's Gable's stable?
American Made.
American Made getting involved.
Yeah.
Okay. Lou?
I'm going Mysterio.
I'm gonna go Ray too, but I have to agree with Adam. I think there's gonna be some outside interference in this match.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, and
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if you see American Made and LWO get into a street fight.
Just about to say that. Don't WO from being part of that. The next match, guys, on night one, and I didn't know this. I was watching Stevie Richards' podcast earlier today at work. So I guess in real life, Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair don't like each other.
No, they don't.
I mean, no, they
it's
don't.
Not. They do not like each other at all. So this is a match. A lot of us. I know. Me and Alec have talked about this a lot, and I'm sure we've talked about this on this show too. Charlotte Flair got handed a title match right as she comes back, but who do you guys? I mean, do you guys see this match going off the rails early because of the outside not liking each other? Or do you think they can keep it professional and have a great match with each other?
Professional wrestling doesn't even fit two words in the same sentence. Forget it. Off the handles, off the deep end, everything. Forget it. No,
like the good old J.R. Ross used to say, it's going to be a slobber knocker.
Okay, I like that. Okay.
Get in
the bed. Professional.
So who do you guys like to win? Is Tiffany retaining or is Charlotte going to be the new champion?
I think Tiffany retains and Ludwig Kaiser helps Tiffany win.
Okay, interesting. I like it. Yeah, I'm going Tiffy time. I think the backlash, and this is something that Triple H has been really good since he's come along to take over creative, is listening to the fans, listening to who's getting the biggest pops, who's over. I just don't see Charlotte Flair coming back and getting that instant title shot and that being such a negative, them taking the belt off Tiffy. Not without a serious plan, with the other three women in the division being tied up with each other, and the other three main big women being tied up with each other, and not really having any way to pivot Charlotte into a bigger story where somebody could come down and put the smackdown on her, as it were, after a win. No, that would be the only thing that I would say, that unless they were going to work an angle with another star where they start a new feud between her and somebody else.
I wouldn't put anything past Rick's daughter, so
I like Tiffy as well. I think since she's the only angle, Adam, that you were talking about, Bud, that they could go with would be Nia Jax, because she was team with Nia before she turned on her and then won the belt with the cashing in her money. But outside of that, they keep the belt Tiffany for the time being. Yeah. All right. So the next one got United States Championship, and that's LA. Jacob Fatu. Me and Al have had an interesting conversation about Jacob Fatu on our podcast a bunch of times. That's a man who's stable. Ring him. It's going to be interesting with LA Knight. So, you guys what's your thoughts?
I think LA Knight's going to. Here's what I think is going to happen. So, you've seen tension between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think Solo's going to turn on Jacob and help LA Knight retain the U.S. title.
Do you think Solo betrays Jacob? Interesting.
I'm going to go down along the same line, but I think Solo tries to help LA Knight win, but it backfires, and Jacob Fatu actually wins.
Jacob Fatu. Okay. That's one of each.
I like LA Knight to retain. He's super over.
Yeah, I'll go with
LA
that
Knight.
too.
I'm gonna go Fatu. I think Solo does do something in this match, but I mean LA Knight is big too. I could see if LA Knight loses, he could challenge either Jay or Gunther or John Cena or Cody, depending on who wins the belt. But I could see that storyline because if LA Knight loses, that's where I could see them going with that. The next match, guys, is the World Tag Team Championship between the War Raiders and the New Day. I saw some warning shots the War Raiders sent to the New Day. Interesting. What are you guys' opinion on this match?
War Raiders.
War
War Raiders,
Raiders.
okay.
New Day
Yeah.
doesn't deserve it.
Damn.
I'll go with that too.
Now you go to bed. Friendly.
I think,
I'll go with that too.
yeah, I think the War Raiders get it done. I don't see there being.
Get food in the morning. Your belly was hurting if you. No, you're not.
Yeah, I'll
I
take
don't see
that.
there. I just don't see New Day having enough heat on their side to
I
warrant a
guarantee you,
title
there's nothing
change.
in there you can want.
I think that for them to take the belts off the War Raiders, New Day would have to be more over than they are, and I think them
They're
betraying
empty. It's
Big E would
garbage.
really hurt their popularity.
Okay. Lou, you like the War Raiders or you like the New Day?
I'll go with the War Raiders.
Yeah, I think that's elementary all the way around. I don't see, like Alex said, I don't think the New Day deserves it. I think the War Raiders are being over right now, so I don't see them changing that way. It'll probably be a good match. Obviously, they've had some history with each other, so that should be one of the things. Okay, so I've got two matches, guys. Which one do you want to talk about next? The triple threat or the World Heavyweight Championship match? There's two matches left for night one.
Let's go with the triple threat.
Triple threat? Yeah. Okay, so that's Rollins, Reigns, and Punk.
Ooh, sounds good.
I've heard, I got to say an interesting story before I get you guys' opinion on this. I heard something today that is rumored that Paul Heyman, who's now in the corner of CM Punk, screwed Roman Reigns, but someone said out there that he is going to screw both of them and join Rollins as his guy, because Rollins is the one who is, I'm just saying could be way out there, but that's what I've heard. So I'll let you guys chime in on that.
I've heard the same thing, but then I've heard that he's going to screw Roman, he's going to screw Punk, and team up with Seth.
Yeah.
But then I've also heard that Heyman's going to screw both Roman and Punk, help Seth win, and reveal that it was all part of The Rock's plan.
Okay.
Not by that.
I think Punk wins. I think Punk is so hot. The pops are always huge. He's always been huge. Even when he wasn't in the company, he was huge.
I'm going OTC.
No, I don't see Roman winning.
I don't either. I think Punk wins, and then we get a heel Seth, which we've already been kind of seeing over the last couple months.
Who do you like?
Repeat it again.
Rollins, Reigns, and CM Punk.
Oh, I'm gonna go Reigns.
So okay, so we got 2 OTCs, 2 CM Punks. I like CM Punk too. I think it's so big right now. And here's why I think it's CM Punk, because I think you're going to have that rivalry with Reigns and Rollins now. Because again, remember, Rollins hit him in the back again with that chair, the chair shot that basically eliminated the Shield many years ago, hit him again on Raw, or was it Raw or SmackDown? I don't remember which
Raw.
show. Raw?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this past Monday.
So he hit him. I could see CM Punk winning, and it's that finally, after all these many years, we see Reigns and Rollins in a little bit of a feud with each other, non-title related, so because I still think that Seth Rollins screwed Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns out of a great match.
I do too.
Screwed that match up because that was a great match. Screwed that match up by cashing in but yeah, you know what? You could do what you do. That's what that contract allows you to do. So you can do what you do. Okay.
Real quick before we move on, because I like where your head's at with Seth and Roman. That's why I agree that they can work an angle together. And I think they'll put CM Punk against Cena for the belt.
Well, and you remember CM Punk talking about Cena and The Rock. I would imagine so. He didn't have a lot of choice words for either one of those two. So yeah, I could definitely see that happening.
I don't see Cody losing. I don't see Cody losing the belt.
Neither do I.
I don't. You
guys been for the last 2 months. Cena's got to win. Cena's got to win. We'll get to that in a minute.
I think he wins down the line, but I think he realizes halfway through the match what The Rock's trying to do and manipulating him, and he ends up turning face again.
Yeah.
Somehow.
We'll get to Cena and Rhodes here in a minute.
The last on night one would be Gunther and Jey Uso, and
right off the bat, I'm going to say Jey.
100%.
It's got to be
Jey. It's going to be Jey.
Yeah.
And I just saw where they're actually going to open night one of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the first. Wow. Okay.
Because Jay's got so much pinned up emotion and anger of what Gunther did to Jimmy. He's going to use that towards Gunther and just take Gunther out.
I have a question for everyone. Do y'all think Jimmy returns during the match to help Jey win?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, I think Jey wins clean. I think Jey beats him clean. I think that's the best. When you talk about for business, I think Jey winning clean without any interference, without any sideline help, I think that's the best for business. I think that gets you the most yeets you ever got. Because if Jimmy comes down and interferes, then you couldn't beat him on your own. You needed help. You needed your brother. I think when he wins, Jimmy could come down. But if he gets involved before the match is over, I think you have a lot of people saying, a lot of talking on the social medias about how Jey can't get over by himself. Jey can't win on his own. Yeah. Jey needed help.
And I agree. What I meant by do you think he could, I don't mean to interfere. I mean, maybe say Gunther's got him in like a choke and he's about to tap out.
Yes.
And Jimmy comes down and gives him motivation. That's what I mean. I don't mean interfere to help him win. But Gunther's going to have his little lackey, Ludwig Kaiser, not far behind.
You could do that. You could have, I think the best thing to do if you were going to have them come out would be have Ludwig come out first. And then you have Jimmy come out and they brawl on the outside and Jey picks up the win on the distraction. That would be a good angle to work.
Yeah, and Jey still technically wins clean. Jimmy didn't help him.
Yep. Yep, I like that. It's not a terrible idea.
So that guy would be night one. That would
And
be
I think I've heard that too, that they're gonna open. I think that's a great opening. I think it's a great opening match. You can really, really set the pace for the night. See how the crowd is feeling, and see how quickly you need to work the rest of the night, because I think you really need to leave 45 minutes to an hour at the end
Yeah.
for the triple threat. So
Yeah.
you book in the match the night with two great matches, and then everything else kind of just gets lost in the wash. And it doesn't really matter if Jade and Naomi put on a good match, or Gable and Mysterio put on a good match. Nobody will care if those matches kind of stink. The kind of, popcorn matches where
Right.
everybody's up getting their popcorn. Because those two matches, the Gunther and Jay match is super popular, and the triple threat is going to be super huge. So I love that. And then Punk gets to main event WrestleMania.
But I want to say, I think the top three matches on night one is the triple threat match, Jay and Gunther, and then Tiffany and Charlotte. I'm not dissing on the tag team or LA Knight, because LA Knight's big too right now. So is Fatu, but the throwaway matches are Mysterio and El Grande Americano, and then Jade Cargill and Naomi. Yeah, but I agree. I think that would be a good way to open the night up, because if you give that match 45 minutes, and again, it's in Vegas, so to get everyone on their feet, and then the yeet movement early on, why not? Everybody would be jacked after that. Yeah, why not? That will be a good way to open up WrestleMania on Saturday night. So that brings us to night two. And there's only one match. Now, there's actually a second match, and they haven't decided who the opponent's going to be. And that would be Randy Orton, and he was supposed to face Kevin Owens, but Owens is out with
I have read numerous stuff online today that the leading candidate is Rusev.
Oh,
That's
it
what
says
I've
he's
been
back.
hearing.
He's back, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's with WWE.
I heard it could be Nick. Nick, what's his last name?
Aldis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see that. I can't see them putting
Me
the
neither.
GM in a match.
I can't either.
It would be one thing if he had he hasn't wrestled in 4 or 5 years, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. 6. Okay, yeah. He hasn't gone in 6 years. To throw him into into a match against a guy like Randy Orton at Mania, I think asking for trouble.
And we all seen what Randy can do. I mean, out of nowhere he can hit that RKO.
Or he can punt kick you like he almost did to Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Randy
is very unstable. He's very unstable and very unpredictable.
Has anybody thought of this? Do you think maybe he's in on the whole thing with Cena and The Rock?
Orton?
Yeah.
No,
I don't see it.
I don't think so. I personally don't think. I think Randy's the wild card. Randy's unpredictable, like Gerald was saying. I don't think you can trust. I don't think you can trust Orton to not do whatever he's going to want to do, and to try and have him work with The Rock and with Cena.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Travis Scott, but that's a whole nother.
And Travis Scott was there.
Now, talking about Scott and Cena, I heard the possible match at Backlash could be Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton versus Travis Scott and John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are you reading Metzler's blog again?
Oh God, Dave Meltzer.
Come
on, guys. Come on now, don't on him.
Right.
He doesn't need any help with that. He writes his own articles. He reads what he wrote.
Yeah, I'm just saying what I read.
Sometimes I believe Dave Meltzer, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
Because there's other wrestling writers out there that are more, I don't want to say credible, but they're more believable with what they put out.
Yes.
I'll say this: Dave Meltzer is a big boy, and he's responsible for the articles that he's written.
And the
true.
hate that he gets online.
Yeah, it's a lot of heat. He gets a lot of heat.
So I'm wondering. I will have to wait until Friday night because I'm not 100% convinced that Owens is truly hurt. And
I'm not either.
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't come back on Friday night and they put it back on the bill. I wouldn't be surprised if they just took Randy off and had him work, because we're already talking about a jam-packed, super huge 2 nights. I can see them taking Randy off the bill. He's not wrestling for a title. He doesn't have his feud partner is gone. To bring a guy back who hasn't been on TV in what, a year, hasn't been on WWE television in 2 years, to work him to have him come out and to do it one night, to come back in his first match be a Mania match. I don't see it.
I mean, did we think about this? Maybe Nick Aldis calls Ava from NXT, and maybe they have somebody from NXT come up and face Orton. Maybe Javon Evans, maybe Tony D'Angelo, maybe Obafemi.
I was gonna say, how about Obafemi?
If I was gonna pick one guy from outside the main roster, and you say we're gonna have him work a match with Randy Orton, and I think could put Obafemi would be one of those guys. I think they could put on a hell of a match. But I'd love to see him face Joe Hendry. I think they could put on an absolute 5-star match.
Well,
Those
you know
are-
what you got to do. All you got to do is say his name.
And he appears.
Here's another one for you, Adam. How about
Okay.
Randy Orton? How about Randy Orton and Carmelo Hayes?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
I like Obafemi better. I think
Yeah.
I do too, but Hayes and Orton do have a little bit of, I'm not
Do
going to
they
say
have
history, but they did have a little run in a couple weeks ago. Or how about like Austin Theory? Because he's got nothing to do.
that could work.
But why not?
How about a triple threat match? Randy Orton versus Austin Theory versus Carmelo Hayes.
Mhm.
And then winner
What
gets
about
a future title shot.
Yeah.
What about Randy Orton versus the roster? Just send everybody.
Open challenge. Anybody that wants to answer.
What about Randy Orton versus the roster in a first falls match?
It might be that way. That
would be fun. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with Randy. Honestly, if
I
think
don't mind seeing that Owens, this whole thing with him was a work.
That's what I'm wondering.
And he was doing it because he's scared that he's going to get his head punted off by Orton.
That's what I was thinking. But the thing that gives me pause is the fact that Orton didn't come out and call him out. Didn't say anything about him being scared, about him running scared. So, I would think if he was nursing a neck injury,
Yes.
Orton would have come out and said, Orton would have come right out and said, would have called him out for it. Because that, to me, that would be really Randy Orton's style. So, part of me, I'm like 50-50 on this whole neck injury thing. This whole,
we've already seen it with 2 other people. Remember AJ Styles? And his whole fake retirement?
And the thing that but on the other side that gives me pause about this whole neck injury thing is the fact that it's been bothering him for 4 months, but he's still continued to wrestle. He's done all of his moves. He's done the package pile driver. He's done his head flop thing that he does, the moonsault thing that he does. He's done all of it. He's used his entire moveset without seeming to have any issue. Then all of a sudden, Randy comes back and threatens to pun him, and now he's got a neck problem. So I don't want to, that's the whole thing about wrestling, is where we blur the lines between fake and real.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if Owens is for real hurt, then I wish him a speedy recovery and all the best. And if he's not really hurt, then he's kind of an ass.
I feel like he's kind of scared, even though he didn't come out and say it up front.
But when he announced that he was going to have to pull out of the match, and then he gave that heartfelt speech and everything, and I'm sitting here going, bullshit. Because
that's the exact way I feel.
Because I'm like, you wrestled for 4 months with this bad neck. This neck that you're saying now you need surgery like Daniel Bryanson needed. This one more match could be your last match, but you wrestled a half a dozen matches before this announcement, and it only is now that you figured it out. So I'm like,
hey Adam, the kick is up. The kick is up, and it's good.
It's up. Oh, Mr. White left.
I think Owens called a timeout before you could get the snap off.
Yes.
Joe hurt his rotator cuff. He's got a match where I think he's got a tag match before his title match, which I think is a triple threat. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think the last TNA highlights that I watched, he was not himself, because usually he's got the hand thing. He wasn't able to do that.
The doctors told him that he would not be able to do it, and he basically told him, "Screw off! Yeah. I'm doing the match."
Yeah, he's going to do the. So if he's really hurt, I would wait till Joe's a little bit 100%, and then I think Joe Hendry's going to be in the WWE, and it's going to be at a big pay-per-view, and we're not going to know. We saw him at the Rumble, but I think he's going to come out and be in a major match. Again, every time I watch TNA highlights, everyone in the crowd's got up that says Joe Hendry versus John Cena. So hopefully,
that's what I was just about to say.
Wrestling across that. Hopefully that match happens at SummerSlam or some major pay-per-view. We get to see those two.
Backlash.
Backlash will be fine too. What this generally a pay-per-view.
I still think they need to bring him up. We talked about this 2 weeks ago now, or last week. I don't remember, the weeks blurred together after a while, but I think they need to bring him up, see if he can stay hot, see if he can stay over several weeks to a month, because if he comes out and he has a dud in a big pay-per-view against a John Cena or a Randy Orton, and it flops and he can't work a Cena or an Orton, it's going to kill his career. It will bury his career before it even got off the ground. So in terms of the business and what's good for business and the long-term health of the WWE, I would like to see Joe Hendry come up and work a month or two just doing Raw or SmackDown before we put him in a pay-per-view.
I read an article the other day that at one point they were going to have him feud with The Miz. And then I guess it fell through because WWE didn't. It was either WWE or TNA didn't want Joe Hendry going over to WWE to do the feud because they thought The Miz was going to wipe the floor with him at the time.
And that's why I think they had him come out at
There we go.
Royal Rumble, because it protects you. The Rumble, you can protect the guy with the Rumble. He gets in, he has a moment, he goes over the top, and he goes to the back. You don't have to work a program. You take a couple of bumps, you give a couple of bumps, you eliminate a guy, you get eliminated. Everybody cheers.
Yeah.
But with Henry only just now getting hot and not having had a lot of time working his craft, I could understand the WWE or TNA not wanting to have him work a program with The Miz for fear of ruining him and ruining his character.
But I think we can all agree The Miz is one of the most annoying people in WWE.
I think he's the most annoying person in WWE, period.
Mm-hmm.
The most annoying person that's had long-staying. Somehow, everybody complains about The Miz. Everybody says he's the most annoying, the most god-awful character. And yet there are just a legion of fans, and I don't get it.
Yeah. I don't get it either.
He does have a hot wife, though. You got to admit, he does have a hot wife.
Maurice is
is
gorgeous. Can't deny that.
Less insufferable.
I agree
on that one.
He is. I think he is one of the most. If he might be the most annoying, and then he continues to get put over. That's the interesting part about him is he goes away for a little, and he finds his way into a title match. It may not be the main heavyweight championship, but United States tag team, Intercontinental. Been along those ways. He gets in that match, and then he wins, and then all of a sudden he's back on top again. And like Adam said, it's those fans he has that just will not shut up. And they keep putting him over, but yeah, that's my opinion about The Miz. So
And what do we think about this makeshift tag team he's in right now with Carmelo Hayes?
Mm-hmm.
I think Miz is using Hayes to up his game.
I never thought about that.
I miss R-Truth and Miz together because they were because Miz is so insufferable. He's so arrogant. And
R-Truth is a national treasure.
R-Truth is hilarious.
Yes, he is.
What makes R-Truth so great is how genuine, how earnest he is in his silliness. You can't tell if he really there's so many places I could go with R-Truth.
His whole thing with the Judgment Day.
Oh, brilliant! Him coming out and trying to getting involved in the Women's Royal Rumble. him thinking he was going to be at Money in the Bank. You're not in the match.
No, you don't.
Every time I watch Raw or SmackDown, R-Truth on there, I'm like, oh God, what's he gonna do now?
And you can't tell whether it's him, how much he knows versus just that's who he is, and that's what I love about it.
I like this whole thing with the 24/7 title.
Yeah.
Him and Carmella.
Do y'all remember that match he had with the Big Show, where R-Truth actually slapped himself in the face and knocked himself out, and Big Show's just standing there like, what the?
What the heck are you doing? Why did you knock yourself out?
Oh, I love. He punches himself and he goes down, and he's down for like 3 seconds, and Show just doesn't know what to do, and he pops his head up and he looks up, and he pops his head up, opens one eye, looks up at Big Show, and puts his head back down.
and if you look at it real closely, you can tell Big Show wanted to laugh.
Oh God, yes. And that's the thing that I'm not sure about R-Truth about is like how much is it that he's just that genuinely funny, and how much of it is that he is genuinely that clueless?
Exactly.
Right.
Here's another one, Sami Zayn. His whole thing with the bloodline.
Oh yeah, when he told Roman that one of them wasn't feeling very oozy.
Oopsie.
You're not feeling very oozy?
Neither.
Such goofs.
And Roman had to turn his face and put his hand over his mouth.
So Alec, this is what we do. This is what we do on this show. We laugh at each other, and this is what we do. This is I got Alec. I got Alec to laugh earlier today. We were going over our prospects, and one of them went to the University of Tennessee, and these guys know how much I hate the University of Tennessee. And I said, "Yuck!"
Yeah.
And I was laughing for 5 minutes when they won the national championship in baseball, and I went, "Yuck!" And yeah, so that's the difference.
See,
During
That's the same way I feel about Michigan, so it's fine.
with
Adam,
R-Truth,
yeah.
I think it's a little of both. I think it's a little of both with R-Truth.
Yeah.
He's a little clueless, but he's genuinely also funny.
Yeah. But is he really that clueless, or is he just that smart? We all think he's that clueless.
He's smart.
That's where I'm like, how clueless is he? Is he genuinely that clueless, or is he just that good at playing that character?
I think he's just good at playing that character.
What does the Judgment Day need to break up?
I've been saying the Judgment Day needs to break up for 3 years.
Yeah. Because when they lost Damien Priest and Rhea Ripley, right then there I got thinking, okay, that's the downfall.
Well, then you had Dominic turn heel again after already turning heel.
Well, Tom's just better as a heel.
I was going to say, speaking of the Judgment Day, there are 2 of them that are in the match for the Intercontinental Championship against Braun Breaker and Penta. You got Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio.
Now,
did y'all see what Braun Breaker did to Carlito?
Oh, that's spirit.
I don't think Carlito has returned to this dimension.
No,
don't be surprised.
Split him in half.
Don't be surprised if you see either Finn Balor turn on Dominic or Dominic turn on Finn Balor.
I think Dom's gonna turn on Finn because they've been showing recently that maybe they want to turn. I know Dominic's a huge heel, but there's been little teases that maybe they want to try to get Dominic back to being a face.
Speaking of Dominic, did y'all see that match that he had with his father when Ray took off his belt and started whipping him in that corner?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the referee standing there like,
what do you want me to do? I can't help you.
They were I was watching a clip. Stevie Richards, again, his podcast is on YouTube. He was comparing the spears between Braun Breaker and Goldberg, because again, those are the two guys that use the spear, other than Roman Reigns, obviously too. But
Well,
Stevie goes,
Jay does too, but it's like a modified spear.
Now, here's my dream match. Here's a match
Go ahead.
I would love. Here's a match I would love to see.
Yeah.
And y'all will have to agree with me on this if it ever happened. Braun Breaker versus Goldberg.
It would be Goldberg's retirement match. That would
Yeah,
what
it
happened.
would.
That would be an excellent match.
It would. Here's a dream match for me. Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns.
Oh,
I think that'll happen.
Mm-mm.
like no. Mm.
But now back to the fatal 4-way for that title.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come down to Braun and Penta.
Yeah, it is. Because Finn and Dom are just gonna
take each other out.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Who do you guys like to win out of the four?
Braun. I think Braun retains.
Honestly, I don't care if it's Braun or Penta.
As long as Dom or Finn don't win, I'm fine.
Exactly.
Finn does not deserve to be anywhere near a title.
Right.
And Bradley and I have talked about that numerous times.
Yeah. Yes,
But
we have.
He whines. My problem is he whines his way into these title matches when he has no business being in them at all.
But back to what Alex was saying about that spear that Braun laid on Carlito.
Yes.
I'm sitting there thinking, if Carlito gets up from this, he's not human.
Never said he was.
One of the cleanest spears ever. I think Penta wins. I think Penta gets over because I think they'll work Braun. I think Braun should have a heavyweight title shot against Gunther or Jay.
Or Jay. Yeah.
At that, if Braun faces Jay, I hate to say this, but Braun would take it from Jay.
We've already seen it once when Jay had the IC title.
Braun won that match. He's the champion. Yep.
I think it starts out with Finn and Balor working together to take on Braun, and they take out Braun, and then they turn on each other, take each other out, and Penta picks up the win.
I mean, could y'all see any interference from like the Judgment Day, like JD McDonough?
Has he been cleared?
Yes.
No, he's not cleared yet.
Yeah, he has been cleared.
Okay.
Or Carlito, maybe Liv.
I could see Ross coming down.
Yeah.
Karrion Kross.
Oh, I forgot about him. He's not even on the card.
But I could see him getting involved in this one, especially if McDonough or Carlito come down. I could see Karrion Kross trying to insert himself in this thing somehow.
You know what? I didn't think of that. I could too.
Right,
what's the saying? What happens to everybody that comes in contact with Karrion Kross? They all end up turning heel.
Yeah.
Because I could see that. I could very easily see them because Karrion Kross is very popular on social media. WWE plays very the new regime pays close attention to their social medias and who's popular. That's why Penta got such a big push so quickly. He's super popular on social media, super over. That's why
What about Rey Fenix?
Is he on the main roster?
Yeah, he's
okay.
on SmackDown.
Okay.
Could you see him going up against Randy, or is that too early?
It's too early.
Yeah, too early.
maybe. I would like to see Karrion Kross versus Randy. I think that would be fun. I think it ends up being a squash match, but I think Karrion has just enough personality, enough charisma, even though he's going to get crushed, to make it worth a 5 or 10 minute.
Who did he go up against on Raw this week? Because he had a match on Raw. He lost, but he looked really, really good in the match.
He's so fun. He's just fun.
Who did he go up against?
His is it wife? Scarlett?
Yes.
She is stunning.
Mm.
And I like that they gave Karrion Kross his old theme back.
Now,
40
Alex,
already.
I got a question for you. How do you feel about the Wyatt Six?
Oh, that's
Where they ended up.
Mm.
They're on SmackDown, but apparently Bo Dallas has been hurt.
Right.
Is that what happened to him?
Yes. But I heard of recently that he is back from injury. I think we'll see them after WrestleMania.
Something to do with his ankle or his Achilles or something.
It was his ankle. I think we see them on the SmackDown after Mania going after, I don't know who, maybe.
Did they spark it up with Chad Gable again?
He's on Raw.
Oh, is he over on Raw? Okay.
Maybe they go after what's Legado del Fantasma. Maybe they go after them.
Or go after
because over the last couple of weeks, there's been tension in Legado del Fantasma with Santos, Berto, and Angel, because Andrade's been trying to recruit them. Which Triple H has done a lot of good things. That's the one thing Triple H has fumbled on, is not giving Andrade a lot of TV time. Match wise.
Who is Andrade married to? Let's see if Alex can answer this one.
Charlotte.
Yep.
Was married.
Yeah, I don't think they're married anymore.
Yeah, that didn't last long.
I think they're divorced.
With Andre, the problem is that you can only have so many episodes. You can only have an episode be so long, and unfortunately, I think there's just too many guys that are super hot right now that you can't work every story as much as you might like, and so that's what I'll say about that, about Andre. And I don't watch SmackDown as much as I watch Raw. I'm a much bigger Raw guy than I ever been a SmackDown guy.
Yeah.
And I think you run into the problem I think it's a good problem to have if you're WWE, is just having too many people to get on TV, to work angles, to work programs.
Who do y'all see getting called up from NXT after WrestleMania?
Javon Evans.
Oba Femi.
Maybe Oba Femi to replace.
If Oba loses his title, then maybe.
Or Trick.
Yeah. Trick Williams.
Trick's been rumored. They said Trick, the D'Angelo family, which I like the D'Angelo family, but they just need to. All of them need to go their separate.
Yes.
Well, do you bring them up and work them with the Wyatts, and have the Wyatts break them up?
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Now, here is something that is possible that could happen after WrestleMania. But no, after WrestleMania and stand and deliver. Let's say if Oba Finley loses his belt. have him come up to the main roster, and if Gunther retains, have Oba Feenley versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight title.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Two big boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only problem I have with that is the same problem I have with Hendry coming up to the main. Really, I have the same problem with anybody coming up to the main roster, is bringing them up and working them in a title fight right away. Well, we were talking. Me and Brad were talking about this the other week. And the problem is that if they don't get over right away, and they go into that title match, they have to lose. And if they lose, you can bury them for 2 to 3 years to a career.
Yep,
And
that's what somebody that we don't talk about anymore used to love to do to wrestlers.
I'm not saying throw him into the championship match right away. Build up a
program. Yeah, like have him confront Gunther the Raw after Mania if he loses and say, "Look, good job, you beat Jay, but you didn't have to punish him after the match."
No.
But you know what? Shawn Michaels loves to do this before guys get called up. And I don't think, is Oba a heel or is he a face?
I'm not
He's
sure offhand. I
neutral.
don't watch NXT.
He's neutral.
So he's like Braun Breaker then.
Like Randy Orton.
He can be both.
Yes.
See the new age term for that is a tweener, which is
in between.
Would you have if Javon, if he comes up after Mania, would you have him feud against Randy Orton?
Not right away.
Again, I don't mind
because
that
they
one.
already had a match on NXT.
And I was gonna say I don't mind that one so much because it's not a title shot. He could come up, he can work a program with Orton. He could, the other guy. If Gunther loses, you could bring the other guy you guys were talking about. Jesus, names are not my strong suit. Trick, you could bring Trick up and have him work a program with Gunther over the next couple of months, maybe for SummerSlam. You could have him, come up, work with Gunther, and then maybe he could challenge Jay for the belt. You give these young guys a chance to come up, get their feet wet, get over with the crowd, build a reputation, and you're not just taking them out of the shallow end of the pool and throwing them off a 25-foot, a 50-foot tall diving board into the deep end and saying, "Good luck, fucker. You can swim or you can drown."
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I worry about because I've seen so many guys come up and they come up. They come up from, and this is a really big Vince thing. He would have these guys on the Indies or in
Matt
OVW
Riddle
or Florida, and he would bring them up because they were super over in the Indies, or they were super over in OVW, or they were super over in Florida. And he would change who they were and what they were, and he would put them in matches that they didn't belong in, and their characters would die.
I got the perfect example for you, Matt Riddle.
Yeah. Well, he had.
I like him when he tagged with Randy Orton.
They were great together.
They were.
The only problem with Riddle was he had substance abuse issues. That was his big problem.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I think H has done a really good job of is when he calls somebody up, because you got, assuming that Owens is legitimately hurt and is going to be on the shelf for a while, you're going to have to fill that spot. We don't know what's going to happen after Mania with Punk and Reigns and Seth.
Yeah.
They two of them are going to have to lose. So the two of them may go off TV for a while. So you're looking at 1 to 2 spots there. We don't know who could get hurt, who has other contract obligations after Mania, who may need time away from wrestling. Cena's probably not going to be on TV after Mania until probably SummerSlam.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn's. What's up with Zayn? Is he hurt again?
Yeah, the package.
Oh, did the package pile driver put him out?
Yeah, he's not medically cleared yet.
Okay, so you got 3, 4, 5 spots of guys that, if you wanted to bring somebody up, you could work.
Who could y'all see debuting or returning after Mania?
Well, we already know Rusev's coming back. We've heard that.
We already know Aleister Black.
Aleister Black's coming back.
Becky Lynch?
I haven't heard anything about Becky coming back.
No.
I read something on it the other day. She said that she'll come back when Seth, I guess, has nothing to do.
Yeah, I think I heard that too.
Because she doesn't want to rush back if there's no storylines for her.
Now here could be a surprise return as a manager.
No.
Big E.
I don't really see managers ever coming back again. I think
other than Paul Heyman.
Yeah, I think Paul Heyman's the last great manager. Yeah. I think they will kind of retire that.
And I want to know what y'all think. Could you see Big E returning and screwing over the New Day?
Maybe.
Yes.
I think the fans would like it if he could. If he's medically cleared to go, I think that would get a huge pop. Yeah, I think that would go over.
Secretly, I think something tells me that he's lying to the New Day and he's actually cleared.
He is cleared.
I haven't heard that. Where'd you hear that?
He said it on, I don't remember where he said it, but he said it that he's medically cleared.
Yeah, he's medically
on
cleared,
probably one of the pre-shows then.
Yes.
If he's available, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know who I'd like to see him tag with?
Who's that?
The Viper.
Andy?
Orton
Could
and
you
Big
imagine?
E in a tag team?
Yeah.
I don't see it. I think it falls apart.
I do too. Within a week.
I could see Big E tagging with Trick or Obi. That's who I could see.
That could work. That could work.
Yeah, younger talent, and he wants to help them learn the ropes like he did with Dolph Ziggler when Dolph Ziggler first got up to the main roster. Or should I be correct here and say Nick Nemeth?
Is that what he's going by now?
Yeah, he's got a feud with the Hardy Boys in TNA.
The Hardys are another one I could see coming back.
No, because they're the TNA tag team champions.
Yeah, but WWE has a partnership
with TNA.
Yes,
that's
is
true.
it just NXT? I would imagine for the Hardys, they would make the exception and say that the Hardys could do either NXT or the main roster.
I would love to see the Hardys, and there's been rumors floating around, but it would be so cool if the Hardys and Dudleys could work one more match at TLC.
Oh God, yes.
Yes.
Now here is,
and then I would say Edge and Christian, but they're in AEW,
and we don't talk about them.
No.
And here is a match I cannot wait for: the Women's World Tag Team Championship.
Oh, I want to see Liv and Raquel lose.
Really?
Yes.
Now we got the high flyer Bailey and North American champion Lila Valkyria.
U.S. Women's Champion.
Okay, yeah, U.S. And when they showed me something when they ran that gauntlet, they're not a team to be taken lightly.
No. And you know what? I've watched NXT a lot. And when Lyra first debuted on NXT, I didn't really know much about her. Then, like with anybody, as the week started going on, I'm like, okay, I can get behind becoming a fan of Lyra Valkyria. And I think they're going to beat Liv and Raquel.
I agree.
Because something tells me down the line that Liv, she's another one you can't trust. She's unpredictable too. Look what she did to Look what she did to Rhea.
Oh God, that was hellacious.
You don't think she would do the same thing to Raquel?
And look what she did to look what she did to Ruby Riott of the Riot Squad.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they break up. I think they break up Liv. I think Liv works better as a solo artist.
I do too.
What's going to happen in that match is Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan is going to take Bayley and Lila too lightly.
Yeah.
I tell you this, I think Liv's gonna try to find a way to cheat, and Raquel's gonna say, no, we can't win that way. We gotta win fair and square. Because you know how the Judgment Day is, they like to cheat.
And cheating time.
True.
It's going to be Bayley and Lila walking out as your new World Women's Tag Team Champions.
I could see that.
I could too. And I could see a turn happening with Liv getting up in Raquel's face and telling her, you failed. And then that leads to Dominic coming out to try to cool both of them down. And then Liv turns on Raquel. And then eventually down the road, we get Liv turning on Dominic.
And do you think that finally implodes the Judgment Day for good?
Yes. Because I like JD McDonough more as a solo competitor than I do being in a stable or a group.
You know, Alex, you just brought up a good point. What's not to say that Liv Morgan is playing the Judgment Day to break him up.
I wouldn't doubt it for a minute. She's playing a look what Seth Rollins did with the Shield. Liv is doing the same thing with the Judgment Day.
And she did the same thing with the Riot Squad.
Yep, and she did the same thing with Rhea.
Mm-hmm.
They worked a hell of a match together. That was insane. I just don't know. I think you see Liv and Raquel break up on Saturday night or Sunday night.
I think what's going to happen is the Judgment Day is going to implode from the inside out.
Yep. First goes Finn and Dom.
On Saturday night.
On Saturday night. Then it's Liv and Raquel Sunday. Then that leaves Carlito and JD whenever he returns.
Both matches are on Sunday night, guys. Both matches.
Oh, are they?
The Fatal 4-Way and the Tag Team Champions are both on.
Oh, that's even better.
And then, then something's going to happen where Carlito and JD have their little disagreement and they get into it. And
here's my thing. Why is Carlito even in the Judgment Day? He doesn't fit.
I don't know. Why was Sami Zayn in the bloodline?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I understand where you're coming from there, but Sammy made it work with the bloodline, and he got over. Carlito?
Well, let's be honest. Carlito's always been a hanger-on.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He's always. That's his character, is a hanger-on. He's not a main event guy. He's not a mid-card guy. He's a hanger-on. You know,
he did the same thing with the LWO.
Yep.
Carlito
and look where that got him. It got him kicked out because he tried to expose that Santos was the one that gave Logan Paul the brass knuckles. When in hindsight, I think it was actually Carlito.
It was.
But
I went back and I watched that match and I slowed it down. You could actually see Carlito standing by the announce table.
Yes.
And reached in his pocket. You could see something shiny or gold in there. Then he's put it over to his other hand, walked by the ring and dropped it.
That's another match I'm interested in is Logan Paul and AJ Styles.
Nice.
AJ.
That's a squash match. AJ wins going away.
AJ wins. Why is Logan even in WWE?
But AJ's got to watch out for one thing.
That titanium right hand.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I think the reason Logan is in WWE is because WWE was this is going back a few. They were desperate for stars. They were desperate for viewership. They were desperate for guys they could get over, and they thought that Logan Paul was an option. He's got the Paul brothers have a 20 million people fan base, and when you have that many eyeballs available to watch your product, if you get 1%, that's 200,000 people every night tuning. That's an extra 200,000 people tuning in every night. And WWE and if Logan Paul were to be anything but Logan Paul, we could be honest and say he's actually a pretty decent wrestler. He is.
Yeah.
He is, but the one issue I have with him is his mic work. He needs to get better on the mic.
And also, I have two things against Logan Paul. One is just mic skills, and another one is just arrogant.
Yes, he's very arrogant.
Now,
could you see him being a part of the Rock's little faction?
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Of what fashion?
The Rock and Cena. Because they're saying there's a third person that's supposed to be a part of the faction, and it's not Travis Scott.
It could either be Logan Paul.
It's not going to be Gunther because
no.
Yeah.
The only other. Go ahead.
The only other person that I could possibly think of would either be Seth. I mean, depends on what happens at WrestleMania. If Punk loses, I see Punk joining up.
No, I can't see Punk joining up with The Rock.
No.
Or maybe
Rollins.
It could very well be Rollins.
It very well could be.
Because if you listened closely to the promo he gave Roman on Monday, there's a couple lines I took out of there. The thing with the Shield and what he said about selling your soul to a faction that didn't care about you. And I think when he said that, he was referencing the Shield.
He was.
Was he referencing the Shield or the Bloodline?
The Shield.
You know what? He could have been referencing both.
I think it was more the Shield.
The first line is the Shield, and the second line is the Bloodline. Because the Bloodline, as soon as he lost, they turned on him. They dumped him like a hot rock.
They did.
Yeah.
So I think the first line is a shot at the Shield, and their time in the Shield, and the second line is a shot at the Bloodline. Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu.
Well, minus Jacob Fatu. So Solo, Jimmy, Jay,
Roman.
Sammy, and Roman. Because
No, I'm saying because Jimmy Fatu came up and he became part of the new bloodline.
yeah,
He
because
said
they
because they got rid of because they walked away from Roman. So
yeah,
Jacob Fatu became part of that faction, and he replaced Roman. They replaced Roman with Fatu.
and I'm sorry to say this, I don't care for Solo anymore. He is
I never cared for Solo, so
Me
he's
neither.
unbearable to watch. I do give him credit. His mic skills have gotten a smidge bit better than when he was Roman's enforcer.
Oh, here it is.
Now
No.
there is another brother of Jimmy and Jay and Solo that is supposed to be working out.
Hikuleo.
Yep.
He's supposed to be debuting in NXT, which I don't
Okay.
understand why you don't just bring him up to the main roster.
maybe he's not ready.
Because that's what I was going to say. When these new wrestlers come up, they had to go through like a minor league thing.
NXT, but when Jacob came, he didn't have to go through NXT.
No, because of his family roots.
Same with the same with the Tongans,
Mhm.
Tamatanga and Tagaleo. They didn't have to go through NXT either.
Maybe they
Could
feel like
y'all
they're
see
ready.
them winning the tag team titles at some point?
Possibly.
I had to agree with Adam, possibly.
What
Well,
happens with Solo post Mania?
they shoot him into the sun.
I think what's going to happen. Let's say if Fatu does win, what belt does
US.
Okay, let's say if Fatu wins the U.S. title, I see Solo turning on Fatu because of Solo's jealousy.
But
Okay.
the wild cards are the Tongans. What do they do? Are they going to side with Solo or are they going to side with Fatu?
I think they're going to slide. I think they're going to stick with Solo.
Yeah.
I think it depends on how Mania plays out. Because if Fatu wins the title, then that's where the money is. And
Yes.
they're gonna go where their bread is buttered. They know which
But
side
now,
their bread is buttered on.
but now here's another possible scenario. Let's say if Fatu does win, and Solo turns on him, I can see Roman, Solo, and the Usos getting back together.
I think it really depends on how the triple threat goes. There's just too many.
But not as the bloodline. This bloodline storyline is over.
Yeah, it's run.
Yeah, ran its course 5 years ago. I've been saying that.
But now they could come up. They could anything's possible. But I think
I
that's
read something the other day on Roman. Apparently, he's got 1 or 2 years left on this contract, and then he said after Mania,
Yeah.
he's got a different character planned that he's going to reveal after Mania.
And there's still the whole open. There's still the whole Rock question. Are they? Because that was what the plan was last year, is he was gonna wrestle the Rock, but that went over like a lead balloon. And they pivoted and put Cody in the match. So are we ever gonna get Roman versus Rock?
You know what? I just thought of this. What if Roman helps Cody retain the title at Mania to tick off The Rock even more?
Yeah. Why not?
And then we see Roman and The Rock go at it at Backlash
Or SummerSlam.
Well, I
for
think that's the
control.
last match on the docket.
Because
there's a return they're talking about happening at Mania for the Cody match. But they couldn't get the person last year when Cody had his match with Roman. I've heard Stone Cold.
I heard Ric Flair could be a possibility.
I've heard Stone Cold because he's already in Vegas, and he told Cody apparently a couple months ago, if you need my help, I'll be in Vegas for Mania. Could you imagine Allegiant Stadium if The Rock is about to hit the rock bottom on Cody and we hear the glass shatter?
If we hear the glass shatter,
that place is going to erupt.
Probably before to look like a Sunday picnic.
Bradley, I see your face.
That place will erupt.
Oh yeah.
If the glass shatters on Sunday night, if Rock's got Cody up for a rock bottom, and the glass shatters, they will rip the roof off the building.
Yes.
They will lose their effing minds. They will blow. It'll be the loudest pop in the history of WWE. They will go utterly insane. Utterly insane.
I mean, I know Dustin's over in the other company, but do you think they can make a deal with that company to have him come over to WWE just for one night?
No,
I don't see.
If it's going to be anybody, I'd put my money on the Rattlesnake.
Yeah,
I would too. But could we think of anybody else that could come out and help Cody?
Goldberg?
Maybe Randy?
If they don't give Randy a match, maybe.
Maybe Goldberg?
Goldberg is not very
I haven't heard anything about Goldberg being in Vegas unless they're keeping it.
The Undertaker?
Yeah, we saw that last year. I don't think so.
I don't see Taker. Honestly, thinking of any of the legends or any of the greats, everybody's so old. Kane's too busy being mayor.
But he could come back for one night just to surprise everybody.
I just don't see Kane.
No.
I just don't see Glenn Jacobs doing the wrestling thing anymore.
What about Bubba Ray Dudley?
I think he's really busy with all the stuff he's doing with that show that he's got now. Yeah.
I mean,
Booker T.
I don't see.
Could you see somebody from NXT helping Cody?
No, I don't think so.
Ethan Page, Ricky Starks.
Well, him and Ricky Starks do have a chemistry together. Because if you remember, Ricky Starks was on AEW as
Cody's henchman.
Yeah.
You know what? That's the other one I could see. Maybe if he loses his title at Stand and Deliver to Ethan Page, maybe, or maybe Sean Spears.
That's right.
Or do we think it's too early for Sean Spears to get called back up to the main roster?
Because that's right. Because if I remember correctly, when Cody was over there and he had the henchmen, it was Cody Rhodes, Sean Spears, and Ricky Starks.
Yep.
Well,
but the issue is if they call, I would think this would be too early to call up Sean Spears back to the main roster.
I think so too. It's way too early.
I think I think Cena wins, and I think it's a dirty. I think Cena wins dirty. Yeah, I think he gets like a chair shot or a nut
Takes
shot.
out the ref.
Like, yeah, there's a ref bump. I don't think personally the way I would work this match would be a 45-minute slobber knocker, as JR might say. Just an absolute both guys go at it, an absolute beatdown one way or the other. And then if you wanted to keep the belt on Cody, Cody could win. And this is one way you could book it.
DQ.
No, not by DQ. But Cody could win clean. Cody could win clean, keep the baby face. Then, and if you wanted to turn Cena back face, if you wanted to put Cena back as the good guy, then you have Rock come out. Rock hits Cody with a rock bottom, and he looks at Cena and he goes, "You failed me." And then they reveal that third guy. It could be Seth Rollins, or it could be, Trick Williams. It could be anybody. Maybe it's Randy Orton. Maybe Randy's the other guy in the stable waiting in the wings. Maybe that's why Owens left.
I don't see Randy doing that.
No.
Well, Randy doesn't
because
have.
Wasn't Rock one of his biggest rivals?
Yes.
Well,
And so was Cena.
Hear
So
me out.
no.
I haven't finished yet. Hear me out. With Owens being unavailable for Mania, and Randy looking for opportunities. Well, opportunity knocks. Maybe Orton went down and knocked on the boss's door and said, "Hey, you need a favor. I got a favor to give. I've cashed out my $100,000. What are you thinking? What are you looking for in that third mystery guy? Maybe he comes down because he wants one more title run. Maybe he comes down at Orton, Rock, turns away from Cena. Cena spins him around, hits him with an attitude adjustment. Randy comes running into the ring, hits Cena with an RKO, and then gives him a punt. And then Cena's gone off TV for a little while.
Yeah.
Well, he licks his wounds. He can come back as a face, and he can finish out his career as a face if you want to give him a face turn. And then Orton can work a program with Rhodes at Backlash, because they've already posted. I saw some really cool. I don't know if it's real or not, but I saw some really cool imagery from Backlash with Orton and snakes, and it was super cool. I don't know if it's real or not, but it's super cool. And so that's.
I don't mean to interrupt you there, Adam, but I don't see that happening because stop to think. When we had that legacy fashion, it was Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Ted and DiBiase. Yeah, it was those three. So I don't see Randy Orton turning against Cody, one of his best friends.
That was a long time ago, and business is business. And
could you see Punk? Because if you recall, Punk and Cody had a little battle on the mic, and Punk said, "I'm not going to stab you from the back. I'm going to stab." Yep.
It could be Punk, especially if Punk loses. If Punk loses, it could be Punk. If Rollins wins, and if Heyman betrays him, and I mean, there's so many moving parts here, and we can only speculate. We'll all find out on Sunday night together.
Exactly.
But if Punk wins, if Punk wins, I don't see that happen. I think Punk works. I think Punk will celebrate his victory. I don't think he'll have time to get caught up in all the hoopla of Sunday night. I think Punk just. But if he loses, if Rollins wins, if Rollins goes over, then I could see CM Punk coming down and getting involved in that and being that third guy.
But back to what Alex and you were saying though, Adam. At CM Punk, not Punk, but Rollins, when he was talking to Roman about selling out and being a part of a faction that didn't care about him. Think about this. I bet you anything it's going to be Rollins.
Especially if I 100% agree with you if Rollins loses. If Rollins loses, I think he's the third man.
I think regardless if Seth loses or wins, he might be the third man. Because I think he's sick of getting skipped in line for title shots or big time matches. Because if you noticed over the last couple months, all Rollins likes to do is whine and complain.
He's so damn good at it.
And say, oh, I was the one that carried us through the pandemic, which, yes, he did.
Yes.
I can agree with that. But you're not the one that had the longest title reign in history.
No, you're not.
And who's that young guy in the bottom there?
He jumped out.
I see that, yeah.
So who do we think wins between Cena and Cody?
Cody. With
Hey fellas, sorry about that.
With outside help, but I'm not saying with help actually coming in and get into the ring and helping Cody, but just by being a distraction for Cena.
I'm team Cena. I think Cena has to win with the way they work the program, with the promos they've cut against each other. I really don't see how you can't put Cena over at Mania.
I think Cena loses at Mania and wins maybe SummerSlam.
But I think this is kind of your only shot, honestly, because I think if Cena loses, I don't think it'll go over well. I think Cena's primed for a heel run as champion, and I can't see them. I really feel like it's a missed opportunity if they don't put the belt on him as a heel. I think that if you put the belt on him as a heel, you let him work a heel program for a couple of months. I think it really it's a slap in the face to everything that he said if he doesn't win. And I think he cheats to win. I think
my problem. I think Cody wins, but what do you do with Cody if he loses?
You take him off TV. I think you let him. I think it's time. I think Cody goes. Honestly, I think Cody's time in the ring is coming to an end. I think because he's got to be pushing 40 if memory serves me, and I think
Cody. Let's see, I'd be 52. I think Cody is 8 to 10 years younger than me.
I think he's like 39. I could be wrong, but I think he's right up there.
Too old for wrestling.
Well, look at Rey Mysterio. He's almost 50 and he's still wrestling.
Hey y'all, he's actually Cody Rhodes just rang the birthday bell. He's actually coming up. He's 39. He's going to be 40. So he's going to be the big 40 in June 30th. Okay. So he's hitting 40 just about. He's coming up on the big 40. Going strong, might I add. Obviously, he's kicking butts and taking names, so good for him.
Yeah, but Rey Mysterio is the same age as I am, and he's still in the ring.
Well,
oh no, I love that, man. I love it. Forever young, and some of the biggest and best are going strong. It's great. It's unlike other sports, and I'm relatively new to the sport, but I'm just like learning, and it doesn't surprise me. Some of the best athletes that I've seen in sports are some of the older wrestlers. So I'm here for it.
Well, the thing about it is, like, I don't know how much longer he wants to wrestle even. You know, he's got a couple of kids, how much family time he misses, things like that. Cody may want to take a step back. So I can see
Cody's story. And Cody's story is already completed.
Yes.
Exactly. He told his story. He won the belt his dad was never able to win. He got one. And I think, that a lot of what it comes down to, and this is kind of the things that we don't get to hear, we don't get to know, contract deals and how much they want to work and, what kind of injuries they may or may not be battling behind the scenes. So I could see a scenario where Cody loses, he takes a rock bottom, and then he's off TV for a while. because you have so many young guys that are waiting in the wings that need to come up. So,
for example, you got Trick Williams, you got Javon Evans, Obafemi,
Ethan Page.
Yeah, you got them that are waiting to come up to the main roster.
and Brad, did you say who do you think?
And Obafemi. Okay, go ahead.
No, it's got to be John Cena. There's no way you bring John back the way that you did. You don't turn him heel and not put the belt on him now at WrestleMania, the biggest pay-per-view of the year. Here's my whole thing about this. They put the belt on Cena at WrestleMania, and either at Backlash or SummerSlam, Cody wins it back. The Cody is not going to be over at WrestleMania. There'll be one match or two matches later in the future between those two. And like Adam said, maybe he'll be off TV for a while, and then John thinks, hey, see, I beat your new toy. Your new toy is now on the shelf. And then he comes back and screws John somewhere down the road and takes the belt back. And who knows? Maybe John goes all the way to his retirement with the belt.
Now, the other thing is, what do you bring Cody back as? Because people are wanting him to turn heel. Do we think that happens?
I say bring Cody back as a heel. Have him win the title back from Cena as a heel, then turn him face again.
Do you think people want Cody to come back to turn heel? Because I haven't heard that.
That's what I've heard from everybody on social media. They're like, we're all tired of Cody's title reign. It's boring. And these are all people that like Roman.
Okay. I thought Roman's title reign was incredibly boring.
I did too.
Here's something else that is a scenario I just thought of. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and have Cody lose at WrestleMania. Like I was saying, 2 or 3 matches down the road. Have him come back, but have him come back with Randy Orton on his side as a distraction.
Could you put them back together as a tag?
No, not as a tag team.
I think they would be fun as a tag.
I do too.
Oh God, yes.
Because they never really.
Well, and then you know what you could do, since they're veterans, you could throw a young guy in with them.
Yeah, maybe somebody like Trick Williams,
Javon,
Oba.
You know who I wouldn't mind reuniting? Trick and Carmelo. Because Carmelo's got nothing to do right now.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
That's not going to happen because those two hate each other.
No, the more reason, yeah.
I think you put two guys that don't. It doesn't. I was watching Bubba Ray and that thing that he's doing at GW or whatever it is, and he was talking to 2 or 3 guys. Don't know who they are. I don't really follow that show all that well. But he was talking to these 2 guys, and I don't. It's like, again, it's work versus shoot, and how much is it real, how much is it fake. But he was talking, and he's telling them, I don't care whether you like each other. I don't care whether you guys go out and party or send you Christmas cards or whatever the hell you do when you're not here. Yeah. But when you're here, it's all business. So you put it aside, you go out there and you work, and you give these people a show, and it's not about you, it's about the show. So even if the guys don't like each other, I mean, how many times have we heard about teammates that don't like each other? Guys, I hate that guy. I can't stand that guy. He's such a whatever. And
now I have a question for y'all after Adam gets done with his point.
And so I think you put guys, if they can work together. They ain't got to
Yeah.
be best friends. They ain't got to be on each other's Christmas card list. But you got to get the guys in there that are going to work.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they got to have chemistry, man. It's gonna be. You might fool some of the casuals, even a guy like me who's just really getting back to the sport and happy to be back. But like, the people who are really have really good insight that are I consider experts. You guys, I mean, there's plenty of good critics and writing experts and wrestling writers that never wrestled. So as far as I know, you guys are experts on the matter. So I'll trust you. But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, I think it's just. The sport's just going really in a good way right now. But I mean, like Adam said, I mean, chemistry. I think you can fool some people some of the time, but it's going to show up, and it shows up in the craft, right? It's like a band member. If there's chemistry problems or drama in a band, or especially like on an NBA team, I mean, it's going to show up eventually. So, what do you guys think? I mean, are there a couple things where the chemistry might be off with a couple of these matchups, and I didn't mean to jump in. Maybe that's for a little later, but I was just wondering, like, maybe what some of the chemistry issues might be. We can talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah.
Here's my question to y'all.
Yeah,
now, y'all know on NXT we have what's that? Dark Night,
Dark State.
Yeah, Dark State. What about if the Wyatt Six comes back and goes over to NXT and takes them out?
Well, see, the thing, I like that, but the thing is, those are 4 new people that were all on NXT level up. So they would have to try to figure out a story for that, for Dark State and Wyatt Six.
And I'll say, I don't like the idea of putting it's one thing to work a match on NXT, like, Randy's gone down and done some stuff, kind of like tune-ups and shit like that to get him, make sure he's good to go, and a couple other top guys. But to actually send the Wyatt Six down to NXT, I think that does a disservice to the Wyatt Six. I think it breeds resentment. I think it would feel like a demotion for them, for everything they've done to get back to, with for Bray Wyatt's legacy and everything that he means to the WWE universe. Even though I wasn't a big Bray Wyatt guy, I know how popular he is. I know how popular the family is. To send the Wyatt Six back down to NXT to work a program with an up and coming faction, I don't think that goes over very well with the brand at large. I think if they work really well together, if it's Dark Sky or Dark Night or Dark whatever they are, the Deep State, whatever you're calling them, if they all work together really well and they show that in a couple of months you could bring them up and work them in a program with the Wyatt Six. But to answer your question, I wouldn't do it.
What about? I have a question for y'all. Who's gonna win between Damian and Drew? And 2, would you bring up Gallus to help Drew beat Damian, since Drew's a heel?
That I was going to bring that up. That is a street fight, and we know that Damian Priest is the street king. He comes from Hell's Kitchen in New York, and Hell's Kitchen.
Gerald. My uncle in the bar in Hell's Kitchen. My uncle in the bar there, Gerald. I missed you, by the way. Sorry, buddy. I want to hear that story, man. That's pretty cool.
And we all know that Hell's Kitchen is a rough part of New York.
Yes.
And you earned your stripes on the streets down there. So I'm going to say
tough area.
I'm going to say Damian Priest wins it and puts Drew on the shelf with an injury.
I agree.
I think Priest wins too. Drew is one of the biggest whiners.
Yes.
Interesting.
He can never.
Dara!
If he loses, he always blames it on somebody else. He never blames it on himself.
And how can you beat somebody that spent most of his life on the streets fighting for what he has now?
Exactly.
Look Look what Damian Priest did for the Judgment Day. He built that. He built that
They
fashion.
were relevant with him. With him and Rhea. You know, the original Judgment Day was Edge,
Yes.
Damian Priest, and Rhea.
I think I like what you guys are saying. In a street fight, I just don't know. This match doesn't really hold much for me. I can't stand Drew McIntyre. I think he's a waste of talent. He's just so insufferable. And in not a good way. Not in a
No.
love to hate him way. And it just
Oh wow.
go away and don't pick up a mic again kind of way.
Adam, sorry, and Gerald, man, I'm glad you're on. First of all, I hope all is well, and I'm just again, I'm happy to just start learning. So I'm looking up Damian Priest, man. He's kick butt, man. 6'5", 250, New York, American, Puerto Rican. I mean, the guy's like originally Luis Martinez, but again, 6'5", 250. We're talking about DeMarcus Ware or some of our favorite linebackers and DNs. So this guy's a mauler. I take it he's really, really athletic, right? What kind of style does he have? So some of our listeners will be able to recognize it when he fights. What does he fight like? What's his style?
He is a hard hitter.
Nice,
he loves.
Yeah, when you get hit by him,
he loves to bring the pain.
Yeah, when you get hit by him, you will know for sure.
And when he hits you with that South of Heaven choke slam, you know you've been slammed.
Yes.
I'm checking him out, man. I'm psyched, man. Good call on him. That's pretty neat. I love, everyone loves good storylines. We want fighters from all over. So that sounds like a good one to watch.
I agree
Thanks for filling me in, man.
I agree with Gerald on Damian Priest. Not Priest, McIntyre. And Adam. McIntyre's insufferable. I have to mute the TV every time he comes on.
Well, that whole thing with I thought that was just, I really never liked that when he was feuding with CM Punk and he stole Punk's bracelet, and I thought that was just so disrespectful. I just
me
started
too. And then the fact that go ahead.
Okay, the first couple of weeks were okay. It's kind of like something different, something fun. But then to go on for months, it was like, just give him back the damn bracelet already. His wife gave it to him, for Christ's sake. It wasn't like a bracelet he picked up at a boutique in New Orleans or something. This is something that actually meant something to CM Punk, and it was like, just give him back the damned bracelet already. And Damian Priest is just a brawler. He's not a technical wrestler. He's not going to do any high flying moves. He's not going to wow you with his blocks or his grapples. He's just going to hit you hard and keep coming. And Drew's kind of the same boat. Drew's not a technical wrestler. He's not out there hitting, swanton bombs or, doing amazing holds or clinches. It's just two trains coming at each other. I think a street fight is really good for them to work. I kind of hope I hope that Gerald's right and he does put Drew on the shelf for like a long time, maybe forever. And he goes away. I didn't like Drew McIntyre his first run. I didn't like when he came back the second time, and his current run, he's better. But I mean, it's polishing a turd at a certain point.
Yes.
Because Damian Priest is like Randy Orton. Very unpredictable.
I think in terms of being, I think Orton is a more polished wrestler than Damian. I think Orton can work a lot, can work better matches. I think Damian's very much a brawler first type, kind of fist fight in a phone booth kind of guy. I think Orton's a better technical wrestler. He has a wider moveset, and I think Damian succeeds or excels is what I was actually looking for in that street fight, in a fist fight in a phone booth kind of match that they're gonna have on Sunday night. I think it's gonna be I've psyched myself up for it now. In a match that I really didn't care about because there's so many other great matches going on. We haven't even gotten into the women's. We've been here for almost 2 hours and we haven't even gotten to the women's triple threat, which is another.
That's the last that we haven't talked about on Sunday night is Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair.
I think Sky. I think those three women together are some of the best wrestlers in the company, some of the best workers in the company right now. Men, women, transvestites, half-breeds, werewolves, whatever, unicorns.
Werewolves of London.
And also,
the whole 9 years.
Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair has never beaten Io Sky.
No,
correct.
I think that changes. I think Rhea is gonna win.
I think Io is gonna win. I'm gonna pull a curve here. I think Io wins. I think Bianca and because if you watch the feud over the last couple of weeks, I think the fans are on Io's side. As big as mommy is, and I don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Rhea Ripley fan.
Oh my.
The things I would let her do to me.
You behave, Adam.
I knew that
let's
would
keep
get
it
one out of
PG,
Brad.
Adam. Let's keep it PG.
We'll let Rhea
I don't think that's PG.
In due time, we'll let Miss Ripley know. But we'll keep it a secret, Adam. Good crush, though.
Oh, it's out there.
Good crush.
Everybody
Nothing wrong
knows.
with that little Rhea Ripley on a Thursday night. Nothing wrong with that.
But anyway, to take it in a more serious direction, if I can, I'm not saying that I will, but I'm gonna try. I think that what they've set up with, I think Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley beat the hell out of each other on Sunday night, and I think it opens the door for Io Sky to win. I think Io's super over with the fan base. Everything I'm seeing on social media is how disrespected she's been by those two. I think that they ignore her, and she kind of stands at ringside and breaks up a couple of pinfalls and picks up if you want to call it a cheap victory, call it a cheap victory.
Yeah.
If you call it wrestling smart, which is what I'm gonna say, the smart wrestler lets the other two beat the hell out of each other in a triple threat and picks up a cheap victory.
Swoops right in at the end. Claims the glory.
Yes.
Sound strategy.
I can probably see that happening.
I mean, it's not the toughest. Most it's a little bit of a cowardice strategy, but it's pretty smart. I've seen that back in the day, just battle royale style, where they're just pummeling each other like one by one, and then the guy who's kind of on the perimeter, just kind of floating around in the action, he'll just jump in at the end and just boom. It's like a war of attrition. Almost, pretty much the last man standing, literally and figuratively.
Seth Rollins with then Brock Lesnar, that Snake.
Yeah.
Who do I like in the match? Up till this point, Bianca Belair has never been. I think Io retains, and I think there's Bianca and Rhea. But I think that they, just like with the Cody and Cena match, I think there is that between those two, and the winner gets to go back against Io Sky. Io, since War Games, again, seeing her jump off the top of the War Games cage in a trash can was one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen in a ring. To see her jump off,
and
then Rhea Ripley, doing the riptide to Liv Morgan in that cage too was amazing also. But I think it's Io, but it would be kind of cool to see Bianca Belair get pinned because she is yet to get pinned at WrestleMania. So does Naomi come down and screw her, or say Naomi loses to Jade on night one? Does Naomi screw Bianca? I don't know.
Or do we see Jade help Bianca win?
Could be true too. I didn't look at it like that either.
One thing that it would be interesting to see is how many people who have worked night one have interfered in night two since they've gone to the 2-night format. Because that's something that I think about is like, if you work a 30-40 minute match in the first night, And we saw Liv Morgan after Elimination Chamber on her Instagram and the bruising that she had, which was hellacious. I just don't know if you can. I'd be curious to see how many people have come out night 2 after working a full match in the first night.
That's a good question. That's a good. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what? Let's do this. Let's watch it and take a number of how many of them from night 1 end up interfering on night 2. I'm curious.
Question for you, Brad. Is next week is the NFL draft, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Next
Our wonderful draft show that we stay up 3 hours to watch the draft all the way.
Yeah. We've done that before.
We've all fallen asleep. Every one of us has fallen asleep on the show. So it's happened.
So if Alec, if you want to come back, not next week, and this is just something I'm pitching out there, Brad, you can nix it, whatever you want. But if you want to come back, not next week, but the week after next, we'll do a full recap show if you want to come back and hang out for another couple hours.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, sounds good.
Alex,
Sorry,
who's your NFL team?
So I live in Tampa. I'm a Buccaneers fan, but I originally grew up in Ohio, so I'm also a Bengals fan.
Well,
and you can ask me why I don't root for the Browns, and I'll give you the same answer I've given everybody else.
By the lake. Why don't you root for them? Why don't you root for the Browns, man?
Because they're a dumpster fire, and they paid a guy that should not be in the NFL $250 million.
Let's do this.
You shouldn't.
Well, I hate to say this, but my team, we have not done nothing in 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Gerald, we got our battles. I know that. Hey, Brad, man, I'm sorry for cutting you off earlier. And Adam, I thought you were saying Alex, not Alec. I'm really trying to revamp my delivery, so I'm just happy to be here. I didn't mean to step on toes. So it's been a really cool show. I'm glad to join in. Yeah, man.
You're looking fly, looking tight.
Oh, thanks, man. I was doing some important stuff. I'm finally back home and just settled it in. And I went to this like new barber. I'm relatively new to moving down to the New York area myself. And this really nice guy, he's like, "Come on in." And I'm like, "Do whatever." And he's like, I looked up and I'm like, "Damn, I'm like going into the military." Like, wow, okay. It was pretty hardcore. I just said, "Look it up." So I'm here for it. I'm not saying no. So I guess it's my new look. I guess.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad. I made a big move too. I moved from Texas to Kentucky after my wife passed away.
Oh, good, man. Well, Joe, I lived out in Ohio, man. How you like in the Midwest? I like the Midwest. Do you like it so far?
So far, so good.
Yeah, man, that's good. What area are you near? Like where the Wildcats play? Near the UK?
No, I'm probably about an hour and a half away from there.
Awesome, man. Well, it's good seeing you, man.
Yeah,
things have changed. Things have changed since.
Good for you, man. Good for you, man. There's always a way. I'm sorry, man, but everything with life, there's always a way. Things will always get better. Stronger together. We've got to keep on moving, and it's good to see you around, man. All the best to you guys.
Okay.
Well, that saying, whatever don't kill you just makes you stronger.
That's it, buddy. And from all over the country, all over the world, man. It's like times like these. Family is everything, and it's good to see you around, man. I mean, the Cowboys. Gerald, I even changed my tune. I'm not. I'm respecting the Cowboys more. You can last Lou, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun with the drafts, man. I'd love to. I'm looking forward to the NFL stuff coming up.
I can't wait till we get rid of Dak Prescott and get a decent quarterback.
Good luck with that one.
Might be time.
What about Joe Milton?
No, quarterback. Well, I gotta see what he can do first.
Yeah.
Man, he's got a live arm. He's got a bazooka. He's like a scout's dream. He's like a 2K, like a Madden quarterback, like a video game guy. He's got all the talent. It's just a matter of, on 3rd and 4, is he going to hit the right guy? Let's look at Brad out in Gatorland. Brad's a big guy out there with college football. I mean, we saw it with like Anthony Richardson. I'm a little scared of Milton, and I almost Jalen Milroe. I'm not sold on any of those three really. It's just they're like, I don't know, super athletes. I mean, Gerald, would you, not to swing it, but since you're on and you're a big Cowboys fan, I've been meaning to ask you, like, What do you think of Milton overall? Like, do you think he's going to be good? Do you think he should replace Dak?
I think he should, but let Dak's contract run out and tell Dak, look, we don't need you no more. You're a free agent. You can go test the market.
Sorry, guys. Back to wrestling. Good to see you, Joe.
No, I was going to say, if you guys want, in 2 weeks we'll come back to
cool.
Yeah.
And then we can also go through our top 3 favorite WrestleMania moments. So let's do that in a. Alec, if you want to come on next week, but all we do is watch the first round of the draft and we react to picks. So that's what we do next week. It's kind of like our fun show every year where we don't really talk about anything. We just kind of chit chat in between hearing Roger Goodell.
And it does get her hilarious at times.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Heck yeah, man. We got to add we got some good personalities. Let's have some fun in this joint. And also, while talking about the picks, you got to laugh at it all, right? Got to have some fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially like why did this team pick this clown?
Yeah,
it's a very laid back show. We just kind of hang out.
We're looking up the gems. I mean, Gerald, some of those best picks. You kind of win Super Bowls with those 5th rounders, 7th rounders. So like every pick kind of matters. I'm gonna be excited to join. It's gonna be
look at the 49ers when they picked up Brock Purdy.
And look at how many number ones and
Mr. Brady. I mean, and then you got Lions, you got Eagles, you got some Cowboys. I mean, all these Buccaneers. You got Bucky Irving going in the 4th or 5th. He's a superstar. I mean,
Jalen
McMillan. I mean, half the best talent's going after like the 2nd round. I say there's always good picks everywhere. The best teams hit those targets late. The best teams always do. They tend to.
Alex, I'm not an Eagles fan. I cannot stand the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, I know. I've toned it down too. Luke, you can ask Lou. I've toned it down. I respect everyone. But yeah, they've had some great drafts. But I'm not going to ooh and ah all day about the Eagles during our draft thing. I'm not going to do that.
But I will say this.
They got to earn it next year. They got a good young team, so they're in a good spot. I feel good about them, but I'm not going to go on about them. They got to go out and earn it next year. A lot injuries, anything can happen. So any given Sunday,
congratulations.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations to the Eagles.
And there's a lot of really good teams out there. So we got one, and it's going to take a hell of an effort to even, get back to the NFC Championship. So we got it, but we're moving on.
Well, to tie it back into wrestling, Brock Lesnar was a football player at one point. And with that,
I don't remember.
Yeah, man. There's a couple.
We can call it a show there. And before we get off, you want to talk about your show?
Yes, the Enhanced Sports Show, Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m. That's Eastern Time. Number is 512-543-4662. We're going to be talking the NBA and NHL playoffs as they begin this weekend, of course. We're going to recap on the most greatest Masters tournament, I think, in history, or recent history. MLB, of course. We're going to talk WrestleMania as it'll be going on by the time I do the show here. MLB, we'll talk some NFL moves as we're getting closer to the draft. We'll talk some UFO as well. No pun.
UFL.
UFL. Also, of course, our regular features, your thoughts and comments, the ridiculous time of the week, sports trivia, this week in sports history, the good story of the week, and I'll take some thoughts. You've have any thoughts on the Easter weekend or Passover? If anyone has any wishes on that, feel free to bring them in. So remember, it's 4 to 6 Saturday. 512-543-4662 is the number. You can also find us on YouTube. Type in YouTube and type in the Enhanced Sports Show, and of course, like and share the page.
All right. Well, I want to thank these 5 gentlemen for joining me this evening. What a great talk. We talked 2 hours about WrestleMania. That's awesome. I'm happy to have Gerald back. Good to see you back, brother. Hope you'll be back here next week. Like I said, guys, it'll be all NFL draft show next week where we react to the draft. And then 2 weeks from today, we'll come back and talk to you about the results of WrestleMania and then our top 3 WrestleMania moments or our top 3 favorite WrestleManias in general. But until then, I want to thank the first responders and our men and women of our armed services. Thank you for doing what you do, because without you guys, we would not. We do. I want to thank my partner, biotropic.com. Head over there, biotropiclabs.com. Excuse me. That is the new sponsor for the show.
Brad,
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you know this, but did I tell you that I'm actually a first responder when it comes to weather?
You did. You have.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
You have. Until then, I want to thank these guys very much. We'll see you guys back here next Thursday at 8 o'clock. Until then, I am this Sir Bradley Walker. We are part of NGSE Sports. Until then, peace.
Yeah, right.
Send it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, let me get out of here.
Have a good night, guys. Hang on a minute. Let me see.